What's going on, guys? Bflattened here with a brand new video today. Today we're going to be going over the build video Death's Kiss Amara, the Death Blessing build. So we're going to go right into the steel trees and then go right into the deer and how this all gets brought together. So I only have one point into Heavy Rain. Its projectile speed and splash damage is increased by 14 and 7% respectively. I only had one extra point on this, so I just threw it into here. You don't really need a lot of purple tree for this build to come together well. In the green tree, I have 3 points into personal space, 1 to root to rise, and 1 to clarity just to move down the tree. The most important one in this tree is arms deal. With the splash damage boosts that you have on this build and the deer that we're going to be using, this is a perfect part of the build. And then in the red tree, we go all the way down to capstone. We start with anima, so we can get status effect duration and damage. It is not too important for the build, but we move down the tree with it. Steady hands for weapon handling and accuracy, so things like the free radical will have a little bit narrower of a dot, so that you can actually hit your targets a little bit more accurately. 1 to infusion, just so that we can have the action steel element pass over. This is important. 5 to tempest, because this is going to be elemental damage, which is super important for this build. Since we're going to be using a lot of shock damage, this is going to be getting an even further increase. I have 2 to wildfire just to move down the tree. It's not super important for the build. Deep well for mag size. We're going to be emptying our mag size very, very rapidly, so having more mag size with us is actually very important. Indiscriminate with the ricochets. With the ricochets and the recoils and the carrier effect that the free radical carries with it, this is actually going to be proccing a lot and very, very often, and it's going to hit hard. We have 5 points into sustainment just so that we can heal really, really quickly and easily. There's multiple different sources of healing that this build is going to do, and having as many points in sustainment as possible is going to keep us alive and up. And then forceful expression for the bonus elemental damage and action still element. It is a really significant portion of the build. 18% of damage dealt as bonus elemental damage is nice. Into the blue tree, we have do harm. And we have Violent Tapestry just for the rush stacks. We need the action still damage, so you definitely want 5 into do harm for sure, because the action still that we're going to be taking is going to be hitting for a lot of damage. Restless for the action still cooldown rate. We're going to be using our action still very, very often and quickly, and we want it to come back as soon as possible. Transcend for critical damage. It is perfect for after activating our action skill. We get an extra 27% crit damage. Since we're going to be activating our action skill so often, this crit is always going to be passing over for us. And then we have Laid Bear. Enemies take increased damage from all sources for a few seconds after being damaged by the action skill. Again, 25% damage. If they somehow live, we have increased damage against them. And then we have 6 out of 3 into Wrath, 3 with the class mod, and 3 points invested into it. 40% gun damage and 40% after action skill use. It lasts for 8 seconds, and since we activate our action skill so often, that gun damage happens often. Awakening for the rush stack effectiveness, just so that we can have do harm having a little bit more power to it, so that we hit even harder. 1 point into Remnant. It's all you need for Remnant to be effective. And then Avatar, so that we can activate our action skill twice, and we also get 10 bonus rush stacks. Super important. Now there's a debate for Reverberation versus Tandava, as which is the best phase cast ability. The differences between them is small. However, Reverberation is going to be doing more damage for you if you can hit targets in a single line. As it passes through enemies, it'll do more damage, but it only does it in a single line. However, Tandava is it'll be lesser damage overall, but it has a big AoE, so it's going to hit a lot more targets, and it's going to hit for extreme splash damage. Because of this, you want it to hit as many mobs as possible, so that you can take all that damage and throw it into remnants, so that one remnant ball will completely obliterate one enemy, thus activating Death's Blessing, and you can keep all of your gun damage and skills up. Reverberation will hit harder, but Tandava is just better for mobbing in general. I throw on Soul Sap just for a little bit of extra healing with our action skill. There's no other real augments that are really helpful and or working as intended right now for Amara. I use the Guardian Angel whenever I'm using my action still with 390. The Guardian Angel's special ability is if you're at a 25.3 meter distance, I believe it is, you get 500% increased damage from all sources. This includes action still, guns, grenades, anything that does damage. As long as the Guardian Angel's in your hand, at a 25.3 meter distance, you get 500% bonus damage applied to it. It works with URAD. It's helpful with 390. Take your choice on it, whatever you like best. The free radical is going to be our main weapon for this. It's with phase cast weapon damage, and it hits super duper hard. It is forced in shock so that we always have that extra damage passing over. It is stellar for the build. And then a plague bearer on here just in case we need to clear out a lot of mobs that the free radical can't do by itself. The plague bearer will be a good one to just sweep everything up. Now the Revolter is super good for this build because we activate our action still often, and since we have an opportunity to activate it twice, the Revolter will always be active for us. It is a 15-second shock and rage whenever we activate our action still, giving us and granting us 200% bonus shock damage for that duration. That just applies our shock on shock, and everything is everything just gets wiped out. I'm using its piss grenade. I don't really have a lot of grenade options for this build. It's more of a utility for the debuff and the action still and corrosive. Other than that, if you have anything better, feel free to splash it in there. It's mostly just there for the action still and corrosion. The Death's Blessing Calm. Now this thing is amazing and incredible. On a kill from a Remnant Orb, you spawn a Blessed Orb that increases Amara's weapon damage for 150% bonus for 20 seconds. If you saw in the intro, there was like a big orb that was like floating towards us. That's the Blessed Orb. Whenever a Remnant Ball gets a kill, that Blessed Orb will spawn and fly towards you. That's when the buff takes over. This one came with weapon crit, splash damage, and splash radius. If you saw the intro to Dipping Amara, I one-shot Seer, and this thing just so happened to drop, and I freaked out. It came with 3 to Wrath and 2 to Atman, which is action still damage and the gun damage. And yeah, weapon crit, splash damage, and splash radius is literally perfect for this build. It hits super hard. And then I'm using the Malawan Company Man. It comes with 50% crit, 50% damage. It also came with fire damage and mag size. This is all going to be passing over into our free radical, which is our main weapon. If you have any other Malawan favorites, feel free to splash it in there, like some Kibsworths. They will also work very, very well, especially since it got buffed recently. Feel free to throw that in there. Yeah, let's just get right into the build, shall we? So the goal for this build is activate phase cast with the Guardian Angel in your hand at a significant distance. Wait until the Blessed Orb comes back to you. Switch over to your free radical. Activate your action still again so that phase cast activates, and then you just completely melt everything. With that, you're going to be getting the Blessed Orb. You're always going to have the Malawan Company Man active. You get 250% phase cast. You get 200% from the Revolter. All the elemental damage that the trees give. You get splash damage, splash radius, weapon crit, weapon damage. It melts. If you want to throw in its piss for the debuff, you can do that as well. But enemies don't usually last that long, so you can just wipe them out very, very quickly. Let's demonstrate that now, shall we? So we're at a significant distance from these targets. Let's go ahead and throw that out. It blows them up. They're all dead. Remnant spawns. It doesn't hit anything because Remnant can be silly sometimes. That's okay. We have all this damage still coming through. He melted before he could even see his health bar disappear. They're all dead. That thing's dead. Everything over here is getting melted. That thing's dead. We killed it before Remnant could take over, and everything is cleared. Still have the Revolter that's passing over here too, which means that we are ready to go into the next area. This thing's bossing is actually very, very good, and mobbing is also top tier. Something that Amara has had some difficulties lately with is both a bossing and mobbing build that's non-melee oriented. There we go, there's a one-shot there. That thing dies. There's Blessed Orb. We get Blessed. We Revolter. We throw that out for phase cast. Everything melts. And that's the combo. Nice, easy, quick. I think just got one shot, I'm pretty sure. we'll clear this area out, and then we'll take you guys over to Trant and show you what it can do to a boss. I don't expect Trant to live very long, because the shield is just going to get absolutely depleted, I would imagine. Alright, so now you got to see a little bit of the mobbing capabilities. Simple rotation of Guardian Angel phase cast, switch over, get to your free radical phase cast again, and then everything just melts. We're going to take you over to a boss and show you how its bossing capabilities are. We're going to do both phase cast Plague Bearer, and we're also going to do free radical, just free fired on it, just to show you what both weapons can do to a boss with a lot of HP. I will meet you there very, very shortly. Alright, and we are back at Trant. Do keep in mind that this is going to be without the Death Blessing equipped, so we're just going to go pure phase cast Plague Bearer on him just to show you what the raw damage can do. So phase cast, we are revolted, and we fire one of those off, and we'll see what happens. And he's dead in one shot. This was out with the Death Blessing applied because we didn't have a Remnant Orb to kill him. Yeah, just the pure damage of the phase cast by itself is a one-shot potential, as you can see on poor Trant over here. But now we're going to do that again, and we're going to do it with just a free radical, eliminating all one-shot potentials, just to show you what the mobbing weapon can do with it, just to show you that it can also compete. Just to show you that it can also compete. So we'll just go and do the exact same setup, no Death Blessing applied. This is no class mod. Go ahead and show you what free radical can do. This free radical by itself, yeah, it's all of 5 seconds perhaps. Poor Trant just gets depleted and deleted. I want to try one more on this. I want to see if I can get a Death Blessing applied, just to see if I can absolutely obliterate Trant here, just for fun. Otherwise, I think I've covered pretty much everything on the build. There's nothing too much more that's complicated with it. Let's see if we can get a Remnant to spawn and kill him. Get me a Blessed Orb. There we go. Blessed Orb. Perfect. Now we're revolted, and we are also blessed. Now we also have face cast, and poor Trant's probably not going to live that. Yeah, he gets depleted. Just for funsies, that was great. So yeah, a quick little recap on how everything is done. Your revolter is going to be your main damage, and your you rad Chaosin. Interesting. Your Guardian Angel is going to be your weapon to hold when you're going into mobbing. You actually face cast, you blow up everything with Tandava. It's going to get you a Blessed Orb. You switch on over to your free radical. You actually face cast again because you have Avatar. And then you just absolutely obliterate and delete everything with the free radical. If you're on a boss, you can just face cast Plague Bearer, and as you can see, poor Trant here gets deleted, even without a Blessing Calm attached. Everything is nice and easy and set up for you. Feel free to download this build. It is in my Discord, and the link to that is going to be in the description of the video. Feel free to try out anything else that's in here. Trevenators with Splash, U-Red, Kibsworth, like we mentioned earlier. Dark Armies, apparently. Free Radicals. There's a bunch of different things that you can play with here. Backburners, Kick Chargers with 390. That's a perfect one, actually. So feel free to play around with the build and see what you can come up with. I hope you enjoy it. My name is Bflattened, guys, and I'm signing on out of here. Take care, all. Laters.